Hey everyone, and a welcome back to the channel and a new video on my 2023 Camaro SS. So today I am going to be doing probably a bit of a shorter video. I've got this interior door sill kit, the illuminated ones from the dealer. So I'm going to be upgrading from the very boring black plastic trims. Just washed the car. So I'm going to be removing some plastic, paring back the rubber here, popping these off, and then I'm going to be running a wiring harness through under the back of the center console, bit under the dash there, and then chasing it behind the carpet here. So we'll probably end up being a shorter video, but thought I'd get it on video anyway regardless. There is actually a really good video somebody already did showing the installation of this. Doesn't come with the instructions, it just tells you to look online. But there's not a lot to it. Obviously, the one wiring harness that goes to each of the sill pieces, one ground, and then this is where we're going to be tapping into a wire in the driver's side footwell. Not going to need many tools. I got a wire hanger that I'll be using to help me chase the wire under the dash, and then just some basic strippers, pliers, and some electrical tape. So first things first, I'm going to actually disconnect the battery because I do not want I'm going to be basically clipping into a live wire. So I'm just going to disconnect the battery to be safe, and yeah, we'll get started. Move this out of the way. Here it is. I'll go ahead and disconnect it, and then we'll be ready to start. First piece came off with absolutely no effort. Just a couple of clips, snapping it downwards. So I just gave it a quick tug, starting at the back here. This whole piece came loose. So as you can see, the carpet is now exposed. So I'll be able to get the wire nice and tucked behind all of here. And then my wire harness that I'm going to be tapping into is going to be under here. I'll come back to that in a minute. Next step, I'm just going to pair up this rubber door seal here, as the wire will be going from the door seal piece under the rubber seal, under the carpet, and then going that way. So I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to repeat the process on the other side, and then I'm actually going to remove the factory trim pieces after I've tested the installation. Because like I said, if for any reason these don't illuminate, if there's a faulty door sill piece, or if the wire harness has a problem, I don't want to have already yanked these off, because these are actually kind of hard to remove. There's a bunch of 3M tape running across the front, and the clips are actually also kind of strong. So once I start yanking this guy up, it may even bend a little bit because it's going to need some force to get it off. It'll probably be fine. I don't foresee breaking anything, but even still, I don't want to remove these until the end, because I can easily just test the sills first and then snap them in. So yeah, other side, I'm going to do the same thing. Plastic and lift up the rubber seal. All right, pulled up this side as well. The rubber seals I found have got some really strong kind of clear goop, some kind of adhesive on the underside. And just watch out with your fingers, because I got some on and it's almost like super glue. It is really sticky. So I don't want to be touching that and then accidentally put my hand on a seat and getting glue on it, because that'd be terrible. Ruin my seats. So just watch out, there is some really strong goop on the underside. And then in here is where my ground is going to be going. Let me see. Yep, there he is. So I'll be going into that ground right there. And then, yeah, I've just got the wire harness to run. So next order of business will be wire harness, and then I'm going to sticky tape the end of it to my coat hanger, and I'm going to feed it through. All right, so this is my wire coat hanger that I've unbent, and then I just sticky taped the wire harness at a couple of different points along here. So this should be good now. It's a really long wire harness. I think I'm going to have quite a lot of extra to roll up and cable tie away, but better to have too much than too little. So yeah, game plan is I'm going to be going through that hole you can see up there on the, switch the iPhone here. Yeah, kind of behind the center console up there. And then I'm going to chase it down and pop it out here. And then I'll pull down the plug, and I'll show you guys in a moment the plug that I'll be pulling out. But yeah, hard to see, but basically I'm going through that hole right there, and then I'll tuck it in the carpet once I've run it through. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I managed to find a way through, because it didn't seem at first like this was going to be an easy way to get through. I was like, this isn't focusing in very good. Hang on. There we go. So you can see here my wire harness is underneath this plastic casing, whatever this is. So it went underneath there, because at first I was trying to go like as far back as possible and I wasn't having any success. And so what I did was I went onto the passenger side, and I was kind of looking where I could possibly find an opening on this side that would make sense for me to be able to try and get through. And so I'll just get my finger under here. It's kind of hard. This carpet is really tight. And then the only place I could find was like I said, a few inches, you know, away from the bulkhead, and then underneath that plastic casing. And then sure enough, it didn't take too much effort and it pushed right through. So, all right, this is good. I've got the end through. So now I need to just feed even more of that wire through so I can get the whole length all the way underneath the carpet, and then we should be good. Okay, so I just pushed through the wire. So I've left what I can see looks to be like a suitable length of wire for the driver's side. If I need any more, I can adjust it. I'm not going to tuck it behind all of the carpet at the back until I'm 100% sure everything's good. Because this carpet's, you know, not the easiest. It's finishes quite high, and I'm going to tuck the wire behind it. So I'll tuck that behind at the end. But looking under the dash here, I don't know if the light's going to come on, but basically, you see here, this grey plug on the right hand side, this is the one that we're interested in. So this one I'm going to unplug. If I can get my finger on it. Yeah, it feels like it's got a push on the top. I'll probably do it with two hands because it feels like it's quite a strong plug. But I'm going to take this plug out, and then I will show you guys what I'm going to be tapping into to get the power. All right, so just push down on the top little release on the top of the clip here, and it just slid right out. So what we're interested in is, and I'm going to try and rotate the plug here so that I can see it a little bit easier, is going to be this grey wire on the, what you're looking at, it's the very front on the right hand side. So it goes white, green and white, and then grey along the front. And this grey one right here is the one that we're going to be stealing power from to go to the Sills. So I'm going to bare back this wrapping an inch to give me a little bit of room, and then I will be snipping the wire probably about an inch from the connector, and then I'll just bare back the wire ends, and then I will use my crimping tool and I will put the splices that are on the new harness, and then we will see. I'm going to plug in the new Sills and just put the power back on the battery and make sure everything looks good, and if it does, then I will go ahead and take these out and then snap on the new sills. So let's do the wire splicing. I just used some small fabric scissors just to help me get the kind of the sheathing cut back. Obviously you have to be super careful not to nip any of the wires when you're doing so. But at least now this grey wire is all the way exposed up to where I need it to be. I'm going to go ahead and make a cut. Alright, so I bared back the wires so they're ready to go. I'm going to go use my crimping tool here. Make sure I slide them in all the way and then get a really good strong crimp on these and make sure they're in solid. So let's go for that. I just hooked the ground up really quick, just fed the wire harness in right into that ground on the side. Plugged in this harness. I'm going to connect the battery up. Okay, battery is just hooked up and it's hard to see in the daylight, but if I put my hand over here you can see the Camaro letters are illuminated. That's on the passenger side. I'm going to go ahead and check the driver's side. Make sure we have 2 functioning sills. Yes sir, this is also illuminated. Obviously it's going to be way better to look at this in the nighttime, but you can see there is illumination there. So those are going to be awesome. And yeah, next step, now that I've tested these and I know that my wire connections are good, is to make the wire harness nice and tucked in behind all of the carpets and remove the factory trims here. And then yeah, I'll get back to you guys in a minute. First things first is I'm going to actually I don't know what I'm going to do first. I think I'll do the sills first, because then I'll see how much of the cabling I have extra and then I can figure out the routing. So yeah, I'll remove these first and then I will get the new ones in place and then run the wiring. Okay, I just connected the battery back up. So the moment of truth, let's take a look at the sills and see how we are looking. Oh yeah, I can tell that is definitely illuminated. Obviously it's hard to see because of I closed the door a little bit here, you can see better. That is definitely illuminated. We'll go ahead and check the driver's side. Obviously it's the middle of the day, so I'm not getting the best way of really checking these out. But I guess if we put this in the shade here, you can see that is nicely illuminated. That is going to look awesome at night time. So yeah, they both work, so that's great. Now I've tested both of them and both of them illuminate. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove the factory pieces, get these ones in place, and then I can work on tucking away all the wire harness. So yeah, next thing is take these off. These are actually proving to be pretty strong. I gave it a good tug with my fingers and I couldn't get it to come up. So what I've done is I've put some masking tape along the edges to make sure I don't have any whoopsies. I don't want to put any scratches around the painted surface here. So I have a pry tool. So my angle of attack is I'm going to go underneath the edge, see if I can get just enough clearance to start getting some angle on this. Because as soon as I get a little bit of the edge up, I'll be able to work it off. But don't want to scratch anything, so I've taped up. So this should be the best way to pull this off. Yeah, just as I expected. The way to do this, insert the tip of the pry tool, and I actually just kind of stabbed it in at a few places along here, and you could hear the 3M tape releasing. And then I just got to the very furthest corner here and pushed it until it was about a ½ an inch under the edge, and then I just really strongly pushed up on it whilst using my fingers. And now I have this whole edge up. I also heard one of the clips unsnap, so I know that now I'll be able to just unsnap this whole piece. So save fighting it, just break the 3M tape loose first, and then you can just start to work from one edge. And yeah, you can already see plenty of 3M tape, but it's no match for the pry tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Goo Gone. Once this is going to come out, where does this go? There it is. Okay. I'm going to put some Goo Gone on this front edge here, just to kind of soften up the little bit of adhesive that is left. You can see here there is some little bits left over. So I'm just going to let this sit. I'm going to kind of saturate the not having the best of luck with this sprayer. There we go. I'm going to saturate this side edge. I wiped off all of the Goo Gone after it had a couple of minutes to sit. I got the passenger side prepped exactly the same way. So now I have some of this P&S surface prep. So I'm just going to give this a wipe just to remove any of the leftover Goo Gone from the surface. And then we'll be ready to snap in the brand new side piece. And so it all has new clips on it. So I took off obviously all of the old ones, and it does have fresh 3M tape on the bottom as well. So I'll have to take off the tape from the front, and then I can snap it in, and then I can feed this wiring harness under the rubber here. See what I mean about that goop, that clear goop? It is so sticky. It's literally like super glue. So it's right in the middle of the wire harness. So I only pulled up just that center area, and then I should be able to just tuck the wire right under the edge of the carpet. So I'm not going to need to pull any more of the rubber up. So I'll go ahead and just make sure I snap this in nicely. I already unstuck the 3M tape from the leading edge. I'll go ahead and snap it down. So there is basically one clip over here holding the carpet onto the body. So I'm going to pop this out so that I can then feed this underneath this area here, and then go nice and high. I'm obviously going to have to come across to take this power feed. I'm going to use black duct tape in a moment and wrap all this up so it looks factory. And then I'm going to tuck it nice and tight underneath here so that all the wires are hidden away and it all looks like no one's ever been there. So I'll show you guys the finished result in just a second. Alright, finished on the driver's side. I put back the plastic trim here on the siding, and as you can see from here, I tried to do it as neatly as possible. So basically cable tied these two crimp connectors that we added, wrapped the wiring that was bared back, all of the sheathing here, I black wrapped it, electrical tape, so now the wire follows this other wiring harness loom up and straight behind the carpet there, and then I just ran the connector. The connector for the side sill is kind of bulky, so it didn't really sit too nicely here. So I made it so that it sat somewhere here where there's plenty of space for it to go. And there wasn't actually too much slack. So once I'd straight gone with the wire here, kind of in a straight pathway, and then gone along here, there really wasn't that much slack. And then the rest of the wiring, I fed it just under this top edge of the carpet here, underneath there, and then it pops up behind there. So you cannot see the wire at all. If I hadn't told you I've been there, you wouldn't know. It looks very clean. So this side's all finished up. I just peeled off the protective wrapper now that I'm finished working. Didn't want to do that until the end, just to make sure I didn't scratch it by accident. So yeah, plastic trim is on, rubber seal is pushed down again. This is all snapped in and it looks perfect. So now I've got to go and do the other side. So same deal on this side. keep the plastic protector on until the end, just to make sure I don't accidentally scratch anything whilst I'm working with tools. So super useful to have these. This is one of those pry tools for helping getting out any of those kind of Christmas tree style plugs. So I'm going to pop this guy out. That'll allow me to get behind the carpet here, and I'm going to run this connector and probably end up finishing around here so that it's not going to push the carpet out here. And then I've already connected up the ground for testing, so it can just stay connected. There's no reason to disconnect, and I can just go ahead and follow the underside of the carpet here along the top edge, and then tuck everything back, and yeah, we should be all good. So I'll show you guys in just a second once the passenger side is all finished up. So I did end up quite a bit extra coming from the ground on the passenger side, so I just nicely wound up what the extra was and cable tied it away, so this will sit up and tight right here with all the other wiring looms, like so. And then we'll go ahead and just snap the plastics back in. So passenger side is now finished up. As you can see, end result is nice and clean. All of the wiring tucked up behind the carpet there, and with the cabling all nice and cable tied back on the inside here, none of the carpet is bulging at all. You don't know that any of the extra wiring has been added. And even in the daytime, how much better does that look, having the brushed metal with the colour from the Camaro logo? It just looks a million times better than that plain black plastic. So let me see, I might close the garage door and see if I can get a look at how these look illuminated. So I'll get back with you in a second and we'll see how these look with the lights off. So it's a little bit later in the day. The installation was all finished up right after I showed you guys the passenger side footwell. Got all the wiring tidied away, tucked all the carpet back, and everything is finished up. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just close this door. I'll knock the lights off and we can take a look at how these look at night. I did just have the car open, so the interior lighting is on for the moment. And as you can see, the sills look really good. I think it just adds such a more of a premium feel to the interior as soon as you open up the doors. And I actually kind of like the delay. So if you open the door up, the interior lights and the sill illuminate after like a split second. So it's kind of like a pop. I like that. And obviously with my Recaro seats and everything, I don't know, to me this just seems far more fitting than having those matte black plastics, because I've got such nice seats in this car. If we go ahead and I'll put the light back on, come back over. But even in the daytime, having the color from the emblem and having the silver kind of brushed metal on the sill looks miles better. So yes, it's fun that it's illuminated, but I also really like the daytime look as well. So anybody who has an LT1 or a 1SS like this, I highly recommend this install and this part. Install was really straightforward, just took a little bit of time with the wire harness to get that all situated. And yeah, factory parts. I mean, it looks like it came this way from the factory. You would never know that I've been messing around. It looks super clean. So there we go. So I will be visiting the door panels in the future. That's on my to-do list. I've got some ideas in mind what I'll be doing to customize these. And I have some exterior stuff coming as well. So stay tuned for that. And I'll be coming back with some more content really soon. I really appreciate anyone who is a subscriber. You guys are awesome. And yeah, I will be back very soon. So this is Frosty, over and out.
Turn it all up. told me every secret. Said that I care, asked do you mean it? It's been months since we've been okay. I'm putting off what's coming.